Menopause weight gain. What I wish I knew sooner. So stick around, guys, if you can relate to this. Um, what shocked me when I gained weight is no one warned me it would be like this and it would be here to stay for quite some time. Um, here's what I wish I knew sooner. The struggle, like clothes not fitting overnight. That's what it kind of felt like. 1 minute you're wearing a dress, the next minute you can't do the buttons up or the buttons are going to pop. And you think, oh my goodness, I could not wear that if I bent over. Dangerous move. Eating the same but gaining weight. And you're like, well, what's all that about? I was very good. I was eating salads and jack potatoes and, healthier, wholesome foods. And yet the scales keep going up. The emotional side for me is just like frustration, embarrassment, self-doubt. I'm feeling very self-conscious. Do you relate to this? And what I learned about the whole thing is that hormones do play a huge part in this. 100%. I don't care what anyone says. It's definitely relatable to your hormones. It's also relatable to the fact if you're not sleeping or not getting enough sleep, which, let's be honest, if you're going through the change, right, your sleep gets affected majorly. I don't know about you, but I literally can wake up I don't know how many times in the night sometimes. Sometimes it's just once, sometimes it's twice, sometimes it's 3 times. It fluctuates. And sometimes then I find it difficult to get back to sleep in between every time I wake up to go to the bathroom or if I'm having a flush or whatever. Now, I sleep with the fan on all year round. I just adjust the settings on the fan. So, for example, in the winter months, it won't be on so powerful. I won't have it on its maximum setting, whereas in the summer, 9 times out of 10, I have it on its maximum setting, so it's blowing a lot stronger, a lot faster to try and keep me cool. But in the winter months, because it's not as warm upstairs in the bedroom, I'll have the fan on, but I'll have it maybe on setting 1 or 2 instead. So I do use that to help me with trying to keep myself cool, being able to try and fall asleep and go to sleep, because I do struggle, because I do find that at least half my body is boiling hot. The other half feels either okay or is cold. I just get mixture of hot, cold, heat temperatures and all sorts of things. So that's a massive biggie, I think, when it comes to your weight gain. Because if you're not resting, you're not sleeping, your body's not getting into its natural state. I also think as well that it isn't your fault. This is biology, isn't it? This is what we get taught. Well, we should get taught in school. Change is happening. Or maybe, I understand that they teach you about the birds and the bees, shall we say. But they do need to sort of not scaremonger people in school in their teenage years, but they do need to sort of explain that as you get older, your hormones will change. I think, just a little dropping of the seed there, just to explain things a bit more. But most importantly as well, what I do understand is about being kinder to yourself. I think that is also part of the major process that we're all going through. I think with the change, don't be hard on yourself. I know it's frustrating you're overweight, right? Because I hate being overweight. I know I'm not doing myself any favors. I know that by being overweight, I'm also not enjoying life as much as I should, which is really sad. It's really, really sad. I don't want to go out as much as I'd like to. I get invited to a lot of things at times, but I just turn it down because either one, I don't feel up to it, or secondly, it's the whole thought process about, oh, what can I wear? What have I got that fits me? And I just find the whole thing just too much to deal with sometimes. Does that make sense to you? So this is why I just think it's important to say this to you about being kind to yourself and to recognize the fact that, these things happen and weight gain is part of it, unfortunately. If you are very fortunate, though, not to really gain weight and not to see the scales go up, then that's fantastic, and if you've got anything on that you can share with me or this community, I would love to hear, because ultimately, I think I don't know about you, but I just find it soul destroying putting weight on. Not to mention the fact that I also suffer with my back. I also suffer with my knees, especially my joints. The cold weather can really make the whole situation, the whole process, the experience a lot harder to deal with sometimes. It can get you down. Now, as much as I'm a very positive person, I'm human too. You know, I'm not a robot. I do get these down days, these moments, these days where I question things sometimes. However, I feel like I'm coming to terms with things more now than I did ever before. You know, I'm not perfect in any stretch of the imagination. However, I do feel that if we are together with like minded people, it helps us come together and get a better understanding. It also helps to reassure one another, you know, that we're not on our own and that we are all feeling and going through the similar or same things together. And I think this is why it's so important that we have a community. Sorry. Blues and twos are around somewhere. I hope whoever it is okay, whatever the. Oh, is it an ambulance? I can see it coming from the reflection. Yeah, it is. It's an ambulance. Sorry, I digress. So yeah, I just wanted to jump on this morning and just talk about the weight loss because that's a massive deal. And I also, as you know, I have started the Mangiano. I never say it correctly. I know people are going to moan. Manjaro, whatever you want to call it. Yes, I'm on that injection. I've been on 2.5 milligram for the last 10 weeks, I'd say, 10, 11 weeks. I have lost 16 pounds so far. For the last 2 weeks, I've actually completely stayed the same. I've just not moved on the scale, which, okay, that's fine. That's a positive to me because it's not a gain. Uh, I I decided to go on this because I just felt desperate. That's the honest truth. I felt desperate because I felt after trying calorie deficit, moving more, you know, doing things to improve what I thought my situation with the weight situation of gaining so much weight, um, the scales weren't really moving much for me. I might lose a pound, maybe two max. Um, but that's literally all that I would end up losing, and then it would go back on again. Something's definitely going on today. Oh my gosh. That's the third thing that's happened. Oh my goodness. Another ambulance. Oh my gosh, that's quite worrying. Sorry, I digress. Uh, yeah, so I decided to go on to Manjaro because I felt like, okay, I've done my research. I know Manjaro is the kindest injection to have for weight loss. And it kept coming up every time I was researching this. I researched companies, I researched how often you would take it, which is once a week that you inject yourself. I researched so much on this before I jumped in. I've been sitting on the fence with this since last year, really umming and ahhing. At first, if I'm honest, I was really worried. I was very scared because you hear about all the really bad things that potentially could happen. And it worried me because I just thought, oh, do I really want to go down this route? My other half was really worried, very concerned to the point where he had tears in his eyes because he was so scared for me. And bless him, I understand that he cares, and you know, he wants me to be happy at the end of the day. He understands and respects my decision. However, he was just worrying because he had only ever heard the negative side of things to do with the injections, right? So understandably, he was very concerned about my choice. So I decided to make a pact with him. So sorry, guys. There's a lot of blues and twos around here this morning. My gosh. Wow, something certainly has gone on there. Yeah, so it's just distracting me. See, this is what I mean. I'm easily distracted as well. Sorry, guys. So yeah, I had a conversation with him, and we basically agreed that if I ever felt unwell on this injection, or if I had a reaction or something, because I do have multiple allergies as well, that was the other concern I have. I am allergic to a number of things, fruits, alcohol. That's part of the reason why I don't drink alcohol, or very little. Yeah, there's so many things basically that I can't eat, consume, touch, whatever. I carry an EpiPen with me everywhere I go. I have done since I was 18. It's just a normal part of my life, you know, I just deal with it. I'm not letting things get the better of me. And so this is why I, you know, as I say, I go down the route of this injection. So I decided that with this injection, with Matthew, my other half, that if I had any reactions, adverse effects, that I would stop immediately. And touch wood, so far in the 10, 11 weeks I've been on it, I've been completely fine. I've been very lucky, very fortunate. And I basically, the only sort of reaction I've had is heartburn, which I've always suffered with anyway. And I've only ever suffered really with heartburn since I've put weight on. So I know that, you know, that's just the norm for me. It's not a good thing. I know I don't want to be having it. I don't want to be experiencing it. Experiencing it. However, I do. And I just literally use Gaviscon. So yeah, that's what I do to help cope with it. At the moment, there is still an opportunity if you want to save money on your first injection. If you're thinking about going down this route, I can certainly offer you a discount code with the company that I use. The first injection at the moment costs £149. That will soon go up as from September. So we've got a few more days left before we go into September, when I believe it will jump up to £199. So if you're wanting to save £40 off your first injection to give it a go, to see if you can cope and if you don't have any reactions and if it works for you, then please reach out and comment injection, and I will give you the discount code that you can save yourself £40 off your first order. The company that I use is called MedExpress, and MedExpress are very professional, legitimate company. I've done my research, my due diligence. I've never had an issue with them. The first order I received was about 10 days to 14 days after my first order, after providing photographs, information about my GP, my health situation, medication history, etc. So they are thorough. They don't just, you know, dish out an injection to you once you've pressed pay. So that's the one thing I would suggest to you as well, is when you are looking online for these injections, please check them out. Please check the reviews. There's a lot of scam companies out there, unfortunately. But the company I'm with never had an issue, never had a problem, very professional. And the injection I receive is always well packaged. It comes in a nice pack because you have to refrigerate it and keep it cool. It comes with the needles that you would need to attach every time you go to inject, along with an alcoholic swab wipe, which is to clean the needle, to clean the injection, cartridge pen, and I also use it to clean the area on my skin where I go to inject. So that's what you will receive. There are instructions as well on how to do the injection, and everything is labelled as it would that you would expect from a pharmacy. So I would definitely think about what you're going to use, who you're going to go with. Like I say, if you're wanting to save some money, by all means, you can comment injection and I can send you a code that will help take £40 off your first order. So if you're thinking about doing it, guys, good luck. Thank you for being here on this channel. Apologies for being so distracted with all the blues and twos this morning. Something major has happened, clearly quite local to here. I hope whoever it is okay. And yeah, quite concerning. But there we go. Have a fantastic day, guys. And I shall speak to you all soon. Stay blessed.